Hey, how'd you get up there? Hey, what are you doing? Hey.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
He became the neighborhood mascot, an honorary deputy, and a 235-pound bundle of joy. But it all started with a single glance. When Pooh Bear was first picked up, he wasn't just the biggest puppy in the litter, he was the only one who walked straight toward his future dad. Tail wagging, heart open, as if he already knew where he belonged. That moment of pure connection changed both of their lives forever. He was only 10 months old, still a baby at heart, but trapped inside a body that grew and kept growing until it reached a jaw-dropping 235 pounds. His size was unbelievable, and nothing could prepare his new family for the chaos and comedy that would follow. You see, Pooh Bear doesn't realize how big he is. He tries to squeeze into bathrooms, ends up stuck in the back of trucks, climbs on tables like a cat, and stands in the backseat of a car with no idea how to get out.
Hey, what are you doing? How did you get up there? How did you get up there? What are you doing?
He snores so loudly the whole house shakes. He chews shoes like they're chew toys, leaves teeth marks on the door frames, and once tried to eat a book just because he didn't get enough attention. But despite all of this, or maybe because of it, he's impossible not to love. Pooh Bear is a giant in every way, in size, in personality, and especially in heart. He doesn't just brighten his family's day, he brings joy to the whole community. People drive by just to take pictures with him. Kids giggle when they see him on the street. The sheriff's department even made him an honorary deputy for a day.
Come here, Pooh Bear.
Pooh Bear, you gotta go to the hole, dude. You gotta go to the hole, Pooh Bear.
Everywhere he goes, he spreads laughter, smiles, and something rare. Pure, unfiltered happiness. But here's what you might not see behind all the laughs. Pooh Bear is more than a funny, oversized puppy. He's a reminder that love doesn't come in perfect packages. He's a symbol of loyalty, innocence, and the kind of joy that can only come from a bond built on trust and acceptance. Raising Pooh Bear hasn't been easy. His dad thought he was adopting a medium-sized dog, maybe 80 pounds max. But life had other plans. Every month, Pooh Bear grew taller and heavier, and every month, their bond grew stronger. There were frustrations, sure, and plenty of destroyed shoes along the way, but the love never wavered. Because when Pooh Bear looks at you, he doesn't see flaws. He doesn't care how your day was. He doesn't mind that you're tired, stressed, or broken. He just loves you for exactly who you are. And that kind of love is rare. Now, when people ask why this dog gets so much attention, why his videos go viral, or why strangers slow down to smile at a dog standing like a confused toddler in the back of a truck, the answer is simple. Pooh Bear makes people feel good. In a world that can be harsh and unpredictable, he's a big, warm reminder that joy still exists. And maybe that's the most beautiful part of his story. Pooh Bear didn't need to be rescued in the traditional sense. He wasn't abused or abandoned, but he did rescue someone. With his goofy grin, giant paws, and clumsy heart, he reminded one man and now millions of viewers that sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never planned for. So if you've ever felt like you didn't quite fit in, if you've ever felt too big, too clumsy, too different, Pooh Bear's here to remind you, there's a place for you. You are lovable. And you are enough. If Pooh Bear brought a smile to your face today, leave us a comment and tell us how he made you feel. Don't forget to share this story with a fellow animal lover and subscribe for more heartwarming journeys like Pooh Bear's, because sometimes the biggest dogs have the biggest hearts.
What'd you do to the couch? Did you turn that couch over? You look at me. What have you done? Pooh Bear.